why this would be appropriate in our classroom?
I'm expecting something big.
You're expecting something big?
Unexpected.
Oh, yeah.
Big.
Okay. Okay, on, is it working? Oh, is that better? Okay. All right, on your handout, I never use it. On your handout, circle the word variety on the title, variety. Okay. Okay, of course we're going to go to 1828 dictionary. What is variety? I want you to read this definition and find the word that repeats itself 3 times. When you found it, give a thumbs up. Read the definition, find the word that repeats itself. When you found it, give a thumbs up. You're faster than the last class. Casey?
Difference.
Different, okay? Not identical, unusual. Variety means different. So here we have some examples of variety. They make life beautiful. If I love carrots and they're good for me, but I eat them every day, I have an imbalanced diet, right? And orange skin. You can have too much of a good thing, right? Even if it's a good concept or a good teacher tool, if you use it all of the time without variety, it becomes less effective, right? And there are other things to put in our palate. I love to cook and I love spices. They can take something and make it very interesting and unique and different. So of course we want to add variety to our classroom. But here's the problem. The framework for effective teaching is structure and predictability. Am I right? If you don't have structure and predictability, you have a class of chaos. You have a situation where learners aren't learning and engaged. So that's kind of the conundrum. Here's my structure and predictability. This is my schedule. I am not going to move math over here, right? That's going to change my structure. We have enough of that with rehearsals and concerts and all the things that go on that throw the students, right? So I'm trying to have some variety and maintain my structure. How do I do that? So I look to the creation as an example. So the creation, beautiful story, right? There is a lot of structure and predictability, and yet there is so much variety. So for example, the earth is structured and predictable, right? We have calendars, clocks, almanacs. We know the farmer can look ahead and we know when the sun will rise and when the sun will set. It's predictable, right? However, is every sunset the same? No. So I lived 10 minutes from the beach in Florida. We had our special secret spot that we would go to, and the sunset was different all the time. It was always different. There was some variety in that. So here's some sunset and sunrise examples, and they're beautiful. They're a little bit different, right? So we also have seasons that are predictable, right? For the most part. Sometimes the groundhog will give us different, it'll alter it a little bit. We have seasons and they're predictable, okay? And there's a reason for that. But at the same time, there is variety in the season. So one of my very favorite things is a summer rainstorm. So it's been hot and you are so tired of the heat and you get this beautiful rainstorm. Or in the middle of winter, when you are so tired of snow, even though you were excited at first, and then you get this, after the storm, you get this beautiful sunny day. And it's refreshing, right? It's so refreshing. And it renews your excitement for winter. I can do this, right? So think about math, spelling. Whatever it is you're doing daily, routinely, the same thing. How can you add variety to what you're doing? And that brings us to the snowball. So this guy right here, he's got great technique, but imagine he's a teacher. Would that throw you off a little, right? The purpose of the snowball technique is to catch your students off guard, and in the middle of summer, throw a little bit of snow in there, or in the middle of winter, a little bit of sunshine, just to keep things different and to engage the students and to keep them interested and curious. So one teacher suggested when they walk in, sometimes the desks are completely different. And the students say, what's going on today? What are we doing? And the same thing that we usually do, but the desks are different today. And they're engaged and they're listening and they're, focused. So why don't we use variety? Oh, you're right. Chaos! The moment you change things up, you get chaos, right? So if you try to throw a snowball, this is what you end up with.
Yeah.
And then you lose your class, you lose the purpose and the focus. And so people stay away from variety so that they can maintain the control of your class. And sometimes I've had this happen. You start the snowball and they run away with your lesson. Okay? It's gone. It just was gone. So it would have been better not to have variety in the first place. So what should variety be? You need to plan it out. Have I thought through the potential outcomes? If I try to do group work, have I thought through Joey, right? Have I thought through, are they going to be confused? Have I thought through the potential outcome? Is this before lunch? It's right after science. Whatever details will affect the outcome, have you thought through that? Is it controlled? This is key. Have I given clear expectations and directions? So if you try to do a group activity and you have not given very clear expectations, you end up with chaos, guaranteed. Okay? So I'll get to that, a little bit detail on that in a second. And is it calculated? Will this method achieve my desired result? So I have a specific result, and will this help me get there? If not, it's a pointless exercise. We're moving just to move. And sometimes that's okay. Sometimes you throw a snowball and you say, for 5 minutes, we're just gonna do this because we've had indoor recess all week. And we're dying, and I'm dying. And we need a 5-minute movement, right? But for the most part, you wanna plan it into your curriculum. So before you begin, you have to tell them what you're going to do, show them what it looks like, and then have them do it, okay? Don't assume they understand what you're talking about. So for example, if I were to break us into groups, if we had more time, then I would explain how I'm going to pair you with the person across from you. And if you're in this row, you're person number 1, okay? And I'd make sure everybody has their partner, and then the random Angela is going to need a partner, and I have to figure that out, right? Make sure she has a partner. And then I'm going to explain, person number 1, raise your hand, right? I need to make sure you know and you're listening that you're getting an assignment. Person number 1, you're going to ask person number 2 what they're excited about this summer, whatever, right? And then you explain what you're supposed to do, and then I'm going to show. So then I'm going to say, and this is one of my snowball techniques, is I like to be random because it catches their attention. It works in primary, I'm telling you. I went and helped in primary with this off-the-wall little kid. They had 3 teachers in there already, and he needed 1 person. And he challenged me. I could not get him to pay attention or sit in his chair at all. And they were drawing sticks. You know, they do that in primary, and you get to come up and do something if you're sitting reverently. So, I just was grasping for something, and I said, okay, they're about to draw a stick. Quick, sit reverently and see if they call on you. And he sat, all of a sudden sat, and thank heavens they called his number. And he was so shocked, and he got up, and then I used that after that. Okay, make sure you're sitting quick. Now they're about to do it quick, sit reverently, and it called his attention. So I use it if I need someone to read, right? Or if I don't use it all the time. I don't throw the snowball all the time. But if I just need someone to read, I'll just pull one out, and then they know they're paying attention, and it's just different, right? And I just flip it to red if they're done. Sometimes I'll assign groups this way, and this is my secret, don't tell. These are numbers, they have numbers alphabetically. They don't realize I know all their numbers. So as I'm pairing, I'm predicting, right? So I'll pull out number 12 and number 5. This team is perfect. Okay, number 4, that one, and number 20. They think it's random, okay, and they don't argue with random. Okay, But there's something about being random that they really love. My brother, that's a therapist, keeps a dice in his pocket, and he says when he's working with clients and they really are struggling with decisions, for example, they need to tell their parents something that they did that was really bad, and he'll say, "Are you ready to tell them this week?" I don't know, right? Of course not, they're not gonna do it. So I'll say, how about if we throw a dice? If it's odd, you tell them this week. If it's even, you can tell them next week. Okay, because there's a chance, right? So, and they are owning that. They're willing, they would rather own that than pick themselves. So we'll throw the dice and then they own it. Isn't that brilliant? I would not use that very often. But I might say, would you like your report due on a Friday or a Monday? And the class can't decide. And I'll say, well, we'll roll a dice, right? That closes the case. And it gives them some opportunity to be a part of it. But it just kind of changes things. And suddenly kids that weren't paying attention are like, wait, what? What's happening? Why is she throwing the dice? Right? And you're just trying to grab their attention. Okay? Yeah, they're going to be lost. So you have to show them what it looks like and model what you're looking for. So why don't we, what should it not look like? It should not destroy the spirit, not just the Holy Spirit, but the spirit of your classroom, right? If you have a great lesson going on in history, you're not trying to pull them out completely. You're just trying to add a little variety. It shouldn't take too much time. That's a big one. It shouldn't destroy the flow of your lesson. It shouldn't invite chaos, and it shouldn't create uncomfortable situations between students. So when you have partners pair up, and you get the two quiet kids, I'll pretend you guys are quiet, and they just stare at each other, and they don't do anything. So you have to think that through, and remember, person number one, you start by asking person number two. You make it very clear, and so it's not uncomfortable, because some students are very uncomfortable with group work, and some will take it over. So you have to balance both. And it should not be irrelevant to curriculum. So then we have all the shoulds, just the opposites. Should allow the spirit to remain. It should be quick and efficient, transition smoothly, invite participation, create comfortable opportunities to move, share, and engage students and be useful to your curriculum. So, how often should I throw a snowball? Once again, if it's snowing all winter, that's not effective, right? You just, once a week, once a day, maybe the middle of the year when spelling is really monotonous, and you might just do something different. You don't want to throw the chaos of your class structure. You don't want to throw the students who are thriving on the structure. You're just piquing their interest and getting them to be a little more engaged and want to get through the long winter of spelling because it's only January, right? So just something to pique their interest. These are some of my ways that I might do that. I explained the chance one. I'm just going to choose one and then I'll leave it open up to you. Row consultation. So we diagram every week. We do it a lot, right, all year. So sometimes, once a quarter maybe, one day when I've taken the pulse of my class and I can see that when I get out diagramming, they're like, then I'll just say, okay, they do their diagramming, they think they're just gonna do it as normal, and then I'll say, take your row, okay? Person number 3 is team captain, be specific, right? You need to have the same answer. Reason together what you think the sentence should be diagrammed. What should it look like? And you have 5 minutes to report back. Ready, go. Now they're taking their paper, they're comparing, they're teaching each other. It's not the most effective way to do it every day, but it's a snowball that they remembered, oh, sometimes it can be more engaging when I diagram. And you bring it back together and you find out what each one did, you compare it, and it's just a little more interesting and it's different, okay? So what ideas do you have to shake things up? To throw a snowball without having a snowball fight in your classroom.
I have this plush owl that's like a ball, and it's called Wise Owl, and then I toss it to people to answer questions because they're so wise.
Oh, well, that's good. And you wouldn't use that every day, would you? Once in a while. You're gonna grab their interest.
If I can see they're getting really antsy,
Good.
or just having a hard time engaging, then I pull it out
Good.
every once in a while.
Other examples?
Oh, like phonograms. You
Okay.
hear them so much that sometimes I'll hide some of the phonograms inside, and I'll say, now, these are the ones you're looking for, and I'm hiding them in here.
Perfect.
And they're like waiting and waiting to find them, and when they see them, they get to stand up and do an action, like stand up, turn around, sit down, or clap, clap, tap, tap, snap, snap, for that.
Good. And you've explained what they're supposed to do
Yes.
so that they don't jump out of their seat and ruin your lesson and the flow and you can't get them back. You've just explained very carefully. Okay, good.
It's phonograms again, but to make sure they're watching me, I will walk around the room with the cards, but still facing them as a circle, kind of around the circle, because they need to be watching the cards while they're saying them, and so then I'll go, oh my gosh, somebody's not watching, and then just to continually engage them, but
Good.
yeah.
Good. Oh, a teacher before my grade, password, when they leave the door that day, they're gonna have to tell me a password of something they learned. Like you wouldn't believe it, but students cannot remember July 4th, 1776. They know what July 4th is, but they don't have the connection. And they cannot graduate from 5th grade. They don't know that. And so sometimes I'll say, there'll be a day, a random day that I'm gonna ask you, and the other one I do is the first vision. We study the DNC. I'm gonna ask you if you can tell me what this date means, or tell me the first vision. And they kind of just watch me. Is today the day she's gonna ask me that when the first vision is? It's this date, right? Just kind of throw in a password once in a while. Again, I'm talking once a term, not every day, sporadically. Another random thing I'll do is for memorization. I had a 10-minute break. I say break, but it was kind of dead time in teaching. Right after art, when they would straggle in right before lunch. What am I going to do in 10 minutes? So we used it for memorization time, and they would recite their memorization. Each student would say one word of the memorization with their paper in front of them, and we had to get it under 30 seconds. And Samuel was our biggest competitor. And sometimes I would throw, so for example, if we were to do the Pledge of Allegiance, then it would be right, so we're trying to go around and say it within a certain time, because I had 10 minutes, and they're just reviewing the memorization. And sometimes I would say, if you can get that under 30 seconds, we'll go a minute early to lunch. And let me tell you, every student is now, teacher, where are you? Right? And you just engage them right before lunch in that dead time when you could really have just wasted 10 minutes. And now they've heard the memorization and repeated it. So, will you throw a snowball this year? Yes. Occasionally, enough to engage your students and pique their interest? Perfect. Thank you for your sharing and your